Today, we are going to talk about how to connect to spiritual guidance to manifest more. I would like to preface this episode by sharing a little bit about how I went from being totally turned off from spirituality and all things woo-woo to becoming an expert at co-creating my desired reality with unseen forces through the art of manifesting. It all started in December of 2017. My friend Brennan recommended that I read this book, Think and Grow Rich, multiple times. And in the same week that Brennan mentioned it, my dad happened to get me that book for Christmas without me even asking for it. I thought, what a coincidence that this book came up twice in the same week. Maybe I should read it. So I did. Once I finished reading Think and Grow Rich, I started to explore other thought leaders from the same era as the author of Think and Grow Rich. And in a matter of months, I was hooked on learning anything I could about personal development with a hint of spirituality. I learned all about the power of the subconscious mind, working with the law of attraction, and slowly but surely started to apply these learnings in my own life. The more that I learned and then I faithfully applied what I was learning from these books about personal development, leveling up, all that good stuff, the quicker I was able to level up personally and professionally. I was able to get a new job and then get a better job, get higher pay, start to have a little bit more aligned lifestyle. So in 2019, my learning started to cross over into the woo. I spent a majority of my free time listening to Lacy Phillips on the TBM podcast and Abraham Hicks YouTube videos. For those of you who aren't familiar, Lacy Phillips created a thriving online manifesting program using her so-called spiritual gifts. And Abraham Hicks is a wise spiritual essence who shares divine guidance that is channeled by the human Esther Hicks. And though I totally didn't buy into the woo-woo aspects of Abraham Hicks and Lacy Phillips, their messages and their teachings resonated deeply. So I continued to learn from them. Even though I was a little skeptical, what they were saying, it sounded like the truth I needed to hear at the time. So I stayed open. So after 2019, the following years, I continued learning and applying anything and everything I could related to manifesting, personal development, and a little bit of spirituality. And the more I was able to heal and build my sense of self-love, worthiness, and trust that I really could manifest whatever I want, the more I was able to strip down the walls standing between me and those unseen forces that seemed to be helping me along on my journey to create my best life. It wasn't until August of 2022 that I really started to pay attention to the surplus of strange coincidences, synchronicities, intuitive messages, and prophetic dreams that I was receiving. Since that time, I've had so many prophetic dreams and visions that I could no longer write them off as coincidence. The final straw was when I dreamed about getting attacked by a dog, just to have it happen in an identical manner in real life just 2 weeks later. Well, that and I had another number of instances in a short amount of time where just before I learned of a close friend or family member to somebody I knew that I was close with passing away, I would have this deep sense of grief come over me without explanation. And sometimes I'd have visions of that person come up in my mind just randomly out of the blue just before I learned of their passing. I'll be honest, this scared the crap out of me at first, and I was really questioning whether or not I was going crazy. And then I started to accept that this is my reality. I'm having these prophetic visions. I'm having this preemptive grief before I'm learning that somebody I know and care about has passed. So I should probably start to learn more about it and quit resisting it. So I started reaching out to others who had spiritual gifts or similar experiences, and I realized I was far from alone. Most people I've talked about this to actually don't think I'm crazy. So that's awesome. I discovered that there are countless perfectly credible, sane people who can channel messages from others who've passed away. There are people who have prophetic images in their mind or hear messages from spiritual guides, and there's so much more. So today I'm going to talk about some of the forms of spiritual guidance that I am familiar with that can be helpful for you on your manifesting journey. In my last episode, I talked about the most common form of spiritual guidance, which is the intuition. And I highly recommend that you check that out if you didn't listen, because learning to connect with your intuition is a great way to start to practice channeling other forms of spiritual guidance. So some other forms of spiritual guidance that we're going to talk about today are what I like to call divine downloads, intuitive invitations, and cosmic coincidences. A divine download is spiritual guidance in the form of intuitive messages or deep knowings. Divine downloads are any clear intuitive message that may come forth in the form of words or images that pop into your mind. Divine downloads are often those great ideas that seemingly come out of thin air. So the next type of spiritual guidance I want to talk about is an intuitive invitation. An intuitive invitation is a type of spiritual guidance that comes in the form of a message or deep gut knowing that includes a call to action. Oftentimes, intuitive invitations might be instructions to go to a certain place or connect with a certain person, many times without a clear explanation for why. There's just some call to action. So, for example, a few years ago, I received an intuitive invitation to go to this store that I haven't visited in years because the quality of the clothes had declined. But to my surprise and delight, when I arrived, I found 3 mix and match pieces to some designer bikinis that were on sale, and they fit perfectly. And simultaneously, for months, I had been looking for new swimwear. So it all made sense. I just couldn't find anything I was looking for anywhere else. And I ended up getting 3 sets of mix and match tops and bottoms for like $20. So it all made sense. I had this call to action, go to this store I haven't visited in a long time. And right there was the solution to a problem I had had for months. So other forms of spiritual guidance, in addition to the divine downloads and intuitive invitations that might help you on your manifesting journey, come in the form of synchronicities, repeating patterns, or what I like to call cosmic coincidences. And many spiritual teachers believe experiencing repeating patterns is a good omen or a message from angels or spirit guides. Such is also the case with synchronicities and cosmic coincidences. The most commonly cited in my experience of the synchronicities or repeating patterns comes in the form of seeing numbers, such as seeing like the same number on the clock, like 444, or on road signs or addresses and so on. It's like you just keep seeing the same number over and over again. And in my experience, one of the most common examples of cosmic coincidences is when you randomly think of somebody and then they call or text you out of the blue. So while I know some of this might be a little woo-woo and out there for some of you, I also know from my own experience that spiritual guidance comes in many forms when you're open to receive it. I've had so many prophetic dreams that there's no way it could be a coincidence at this point. I've also had many experiences with preemptively feeling this deep, unexplainable grief just before the news of someone passing away. I've noticed that recurring numbers appear most in my life when I am intentionally doing the work I present in my manifesting programs so that I can level up. It's as if the spiritual realm is acknowledging my hard work and recognizing I'm doing this tough stuff. I'm trying to heal and better myself so I can make the world a better place. And the universe, the spiritual realm, is giving me signs that I'm recognized and that my spirit guides or my higher power is along for this journey. So now I'm going to talk about how to connect with spiritual guidance. Some of the same techniques that I talked about in my last episode that you can use to access your intuition will also help you connect to spiritual guidance. The following are some additional measures that you can take to invite and experience more synchronicities, divine downloads, cosmic coincidences, and other nudges from the spiritual realm that may guide you on your manifesting journey. So first, keep yourself out of survival mode so that you can stay receptive. By taking care of your mental, physical, and spiritual wellness, you are far more likely to be open to receive and channel your intuition and that's the spiritual guidance. Think about it like this. Your body, your heart, your mind all function as an antenna through which you can channel that spiritual and divine realm. If your mind is distracted, if you're distressed, you can't properly focus or function as an antenna. Your spiritual guidance might get lost in translation, like radio static instead of a clear message. So once again, it's important to take care of yourself physically, mentally, spiritually, and stay out of survival mode so that you can receive these messages clearly and it not get blocked by not feeling well or being overwhelmed or distracted. Another great way to encourage spiritual guidance to come through is to set a time in advance as if you're making an appointment to connect to your spirit guides or your higher power. Then be sure that you do actually show up for the appointment and make sure you're in a quiet place with a clear and open mind and see what shows up. You can even put it on your calendar and send mental messages before your appointment, calling your spirit guides or your higher power to meet you at that time. Another great thing to do, if you're going to do that especially, is to give thanks in advance for the spiritual guidance showing up in your life and giving you that guidance that you need in the first place. Say something like, "Thank you, spirit guides, for conspiring with me and with the universe to make my dreams a reality." The more that you acknowledge that you recognize that there's something there that's helping you on your journey, the more it's going to show up. And last but not least, you can ask for signs from the divine realm or your spirit guides. The other day, my friend Brittany told me a story about how she did this to get some encouragement. She was asking for signs that she was on the right path and that she was going to experience professional success sooner than later. So she first asked to see the number 444, and it quickly appeared in a number of places in the same day. She thought that was too easy. 444, it's a common number. You can see it on the clock and so on. So then she picked 777 because it's a number that can't show up on a clock. It's a little bit less common. And soon after, that number appeared a few times. So finally, she said, "Okay, fine. I want to see a butterfly." Then I'll know the spiritual realm is collaborating with me. And literally while we are on the phone and she is telling me this, at the same time, both of us saw a butterfly despite not even being in the same place. She was just telling me about asking her spiritual guides to show her that they're with her and that she's on the right path. And then the third thing was the butterfly. I mean, you can't make this stuff up, right? Like, I just don't think that that's a coincidence. I think it's a cosmic coincidence. And I think that it's a great example of how all of these little mini miracles, these little synchronicities are happening around us all the time if we just take a moment to invite it and to pay attention and receive it. So once again, I truly believe that when you ask and you are ready to receive, you will get whatever it is that you're calling in. As you continue along your manifesting journey, I challenge you to start to invite that spiritual guidance. Start small. Something like a number is great. And start to set some appointments. Start to open up and pay attention. Make note of the synchronicities and cosmic coincidences that appear in your life. And also write down any divine downloads or intuitive invitations you receive. Once you start to look at it, you're going to start to notice, holy cow, this shows up all the time in my life. And the more that you're intentional and really do take note of that spiritual guidance that you receive, the more it's going to continue to appear. This is one of the pinnacles of co-creating with the universe. When you get that feedback that isn't just your manifestation coming through, but these little signs and synchronicities that, hey, there is something out there collaborating, supporting you, helping you along the way. It makes it a lot easier in that interim between when you decided what it is that you want to manifest and before it appears to receive that pat on the back showing that, hey, you're not alone and hey, great things are on the way. So thank you so much for listening and happy manifesting. If you like this episode, please take a moment to like it, share it, write a review, subscribe to my channel, whatever you feel compelled to do would be amazing. This helps me connect with and support more amazing people in search of more aligned ways to level up and manifest. Thank you for listening. And remember, what you're seeking is seeking you. It's up to you to claim it.